So, welcome everybody. This is the delivery system sync and demo of the 31st of May 2023. We have some discussion points in the agenda. Mainly the first one is kind of a review of the actions from the retrospective. So thanks everybody for adding all your notes. Obviously, there was a common sentiment of having the scope being enlarged during the quarter, and at the same time, probably the scope not being very clear at the beginning of the quarter. I was kind of expecting this to happen, to be honest, because it was kind of an exploratory thing where we have a lot of parts of the technology stack that also need a bit of a learning curve. And we didn't have anything, right? We're kind of starting from a blank canvas. So we had to start to learn how to collect, what to collect, and how to visualize. So nothing new. I'm happy that you all brought up this. So I think this one probably is the most important key takeaway from the last quarter. I think something we should keep in mind. In addition to some smaller stuff, we understood everybody in the team that we don't like JSON.NET, Libson.NET, and Graph.NET. Probably someone from Grafana is going to look at this and they're going to be unhappy about this part, but yeah, at least we're honest. So I would like to understand from your point of view, if there is any takeaway that I might have missed from your comments, and if not, how we can apply the takeaways from having a better scope at the beginning of the quarter to the current OKR, and if it's needed. Who wants to start first on this?
Can I start?
Go ahead, Vladimir.
From my point of view, I understand that it was OKR, but again, like you do explorations on the implementation, but from my point of view, initially we did not understand what to do, and we did not understand what our expected outcome from this OKR should be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Was it like OKR definition wasn't clear, or we haven't agreed on outcome? But initially was, so we based our, like, maybe half of the not half, maybe third of time we wasted on actually defining the scope and finding the proper tooling to work on the scope. And then we figured out, okay, so we have certain metrics that we use, and then we will, we get value from those metrics. But we based our vision on the existing metrics, but not on what we exactly want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And we spend quite a lot of time on that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just setting up the outcome and setting up the expectation, what we actually need to see, and what will help us to have better visibility on our pipelines and deployments. I would say we started with different angles. We started with what we have already and try to make some value out of it. But I think that we need to, like, from very beginning, we need to figure out what is expected results, and then based on those expected results, we should define, like, is existing metrics enough or not? What we need to add, what is missing, how we can do that, and etc. etc. So I would really start with like a vision of end result instead of just vision of like what we have and what we can do with that. That's from my point of view was
Okay.
a bit mistake from very beginning. But then we back on track
Mm.
and we rethink the whole OKR, which was very good.
Thank you, Vladimir. Anyone else anything to add to this or to have share a different point of view? If not, was it clear to, so since we know we started at the beginning to look at started to reason on what we have and so on. So I understand that. I don't know how easy it was for us itself to actually have that clarity at the end of the quarter. I don't know if we had the experience and the knowledge on our current metrics, since metrics was something that was a pretty new topic to us at the beginning of the quarter. So I'm trying to understand what we could have done better to not spend this 1/3 of the quarter in revisiting the things and be back in track at the beginning. So at least it wasn't clear to me what we could collect and which information we could collect could bring us a value to the end, right? So there was a bit of unclarity there, but I'm not sure if for someone this was clear since day zero, and we didn't use this information well, or at least if now we are in possess of the same level of knowledge, not what we know now, could have we done something different, do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Basically, like as Ruben mentioned in his like comment, I think the whole epic was explanatory.
Exploratory. I
Yeah.
think we should change this word.
We were like exploring with the stuff because like we wanted to help release managers with metrics, correct?
Mhm.
And we didn't know actually. I think like we didn't know like before actually the pipeline, before like Ruben adding the foundation for like the whole thing, we didn't know what metrics we will actually create, or like we knew what metrics we need to like to figure out, like the pipeline failures, stuff like that, but we didn't know a way until Ruben added the foundation, and then we started adding the metrics to the tooling. So it was like most of it like we were exploring until we figured out, okay, now we have the tooling, we can add the metrics, we know what metrics we are like capable of actually extracting. So we oriented the goal in the middle, which I think was actually meant to be somehow, because like we couldn't do this beforehand, I think, because we didn't have the correct tooling or like the correct metrics in hand.
We also didn't have the knowledge within
Yep.
our own things, I think, that we actually built with that.
That's true.
Okay. Thank you. Do you think that what we have now for us OKR for this quarter, do we have the clarity of what is our end goal, or do we need to revisit a bit what we're working on right now? Is it clear for everybody what's the end goal of our current OKR?
Let's say we have a clear vision of a half of the OKR.
Yes.
Because the half of OKR is to have service mesh installed and Flux installed, and like have pre-clusters expose new ingress. This is like a half of the OKR, but the rest of the OKR for now isn't really clear because we haven't set we haven't set expectations on scenarios that we want to achieve with this thing. So we said like we're gonna think about this later. But I'm not sure. Well, I would say even we don't achieve like these scenarios in this quarter, I think if we go half of this OKR live by end of the quarter, it would be achievement, like a great achievement, because scenarios we can implement scenarios later. The only thing that is a bit concerning for me is like our OKRs and our end goals are spread across many quarters. For example, dashboard, like this observability OKR, we haven't finished it yet, and I don't see if we can finish it this quarter because we have other priorities, and like I don't really like to have things halfway done. And I have concern that might happen with current OKR as well. I don't know what to do with that.
I wanted to add that we actually worded the current OKR with the various key results that we consider that we achieved the OKR if we are able to switch traffic between two different deployments. So we actually explicitly left out creating all the scenarios of that we could have added later if we finish the current scope of our OKR at the early stage, right? So this was actually a bit of a learning from the previous quarter. Okay, let's stay smaller with this initial scope, and we can add the extra key result later on. I think we also need to consider the fact that we're a bit at lower capacity this quarter. Scarbeck is out, holiday season starting. So I would otherwise expect that we could actually keep working on some side stuff and wrap up all the dashboard part and so on. I know we still have to document. I know we still have to finish the work on linking the dashboards together and so on. I think this is a matter of priority also, what country brings value to the company. I think we actually build the previous OKR in a way that we start to see some value, not probably all the value that we would need, but we still start to be able to see, okay, where we lose time, have an understanding of which are the several components of the SLO that are taking this amount of time. Clearly, we need to have a bit of manual effort. We want to dig more information out of that, but information at least is there now, things that wasn't before. So I hope that we can definitely circle back to that and polish things in a way that is more useful to us. I actually have a task on my side to try to start to collect the various failures that are contributing to increase to the deployment pipeline timing and see if quality can start to look at those, since a lot of these QA reliable failures that we have are actually contributing to a lot of retries and also increase in MTTP in general, increase in MTTP. For this OKR of this quarter, we have this check-in that is next week. So I guess this should be is also one of the key learnings that we had from the previous quarter to have more frequent check-ins. So let's use this check-in to make a status of the situation in a way that we know if we need to adjust anything going forward. Okay. Anything else on this? If not, I'm gonna move to point B. This is something that actually I feel left as a sync, as a reading point. Well, we didn't have any async reading point in the agenda. It was just asked for everybody that still has some issues in progress related to the previous quarter OKR to add a note if the work is stalled. So let's say, I know that I need to contribute to the documentation with Ahmad, and we still didn't manage to finish that. And whatever you have in progress from the previous quarter, please let's add a comment and say that we actually right now, let's add a different label like blocked or something that we are actually block because we have our priority. We are going to take this work back as soon as we can, so we can represent better the current influx and working items that we have. So that's nothing to discuss, but simply just please do that if you can. Demo, Vladimir.
Yes.
Let's make sure we don't have any token in the screen in case before we start.
No, we don't. That
Okay.
should be fine. I'll share my screen then. So I'm gonna demo initial Flux components and tenants installation today. So what is in the scope is, wait a second, I lost the tabs already. That's usually happen with me. So what we have done, we've created a Kubernetes management group, which contains of 2 repositories and 1 group. Repository clusters. This is the main entry point for all clusters that we have defined. Well, sorry, let me restart this. The first thing, we are installed Flux using Terraform provider, and this is done in this config management repository environments. Not environments, but modules. Flux. This is the new Flux module in config management that actually it has some provider configuration, Google authentication, and Flux Bootstrap provider. Flux Bootstrap, it bootstraps Flux by giving, some parameters, and that module will be installed on every single cluster where we have Flux. So, and then that's how it's bootstrapped. If we go to environments, pre and GKE regional, this is very simple. This is basically, you just need to have one simple component that says Flux Bootstrap and sourcing module Flux. You specify project, a region, environment, and you say what is the cluster name, what is the cluster endpoint, and what is your cluster CA certificate. So, and then you add these few lines to any cluster, and you will have a Flux bootstrapped. And this thingy, project, region, and environment, defines the path within this cluster's repository. So, and every single cluster connected to the path in this cluster's repository. So you say project, it's GKE, region is US East 1, and environment is this GitLab pre-environment. That's how it calls now. And we have 2 clusters here, GitLab GKE 1 and GitLab GKE 2. So both GKE cluster, both pre-clusters bootstrapped using Flux. Well, they bootstrap well Flux, but actually Flux next time we recreate those clusters, Flux will be bootstrapped automatically. And here, what it does, it creates, this provider creates a couple of files within repository, and that actually has a lot of components, which is part of this. This is not us created. This is auto-generated by Flux Terraform provider. And also synchronization for GitLab repository. So if you see, this is the GitLab repository resource. that it's synced to the cluster. So it's kind of bootstrapping these resources with that configuration. So now how it works, we have, again, like we have clusters, which is cluster management, components. This is the list of shared components. So for example, Istio will be the shared component within components repository, and Istio will be the part of the base component. So we have base component that defines like what is default components for default cluster installation. And now it's only Flux. And once we added Istio and we want to, bootstrap Istio everywhere, we adding Istio as a base component. And if you create cluster using Terraform and we specify like a base component, Istio is a base component, Istio will be installed during the Terraform installation. This is components. Then we have also tenants, and the tenants is we have tenants per infrastructure group, infrastructure team. Delivery, reliability, and scalability. Don't look at Istio now. It was temporarily created by Felipe. So delivery, reliability, and scalability, and each team has overlays on the different components. So you want to, if delivery team want to configure some endpoints and want to configure some endpoints per cluster and enable, I don't know, some canary stuff, we have a repository that is connected to those clusters, and everything that we commit to this repository will be synced to the cluster. So let me do a little demo. So as you see here, we have, I said, kubectl get git repositories customization, Helm release, and Helm repo. Here we have like on the pre-cluster, we have different Git repositories checked in and synced. Flux component, this is components repository, Flux system, that's the clusters repository, and two tenants like Flux tenants delivery, this is delivery, Flux tenants reliability, this is reliability. This is where Flux gets the source of truth from, and the customizations is actually the set of resources. It's basically Kubernetes customized, and it combines the resources together. So we have components base, we have secrets, tenants, and delivery. And if we go here and go to, I don't know, and we want to change secret, for example, Flux, whatever. It's just test secret now. That will be synced with cluster. You say, well, actually not secrets, but maybe, I don't know, let's say something. Yeah, let's say secret Flux Flux false, or Flux hello world. Everything that you do, you have, so you just commit it. Test for the demo. Actually, I don't think I can push because there is a, yeah, let me just maybe do something else because I played around and I didn't have any branch protections, and then I was playing around, but then I re-enabled branch protection. And in order to change something now, you need to create a branch and do like usual stuff with merge request, and once it's merged, it will be synced to the repository. So we have this not secret config. So we have this config map, Flux component tests, and you see it's like Flux true. And if I would open the merge request, it's probably too much. Probably shouldn't open merge request. So if I open merge request and sync it to and merge it to the master branch, I will have this Flux hello world as a config map. So, and here again, like this clusters repository is everything that is related to cluster itself. And cluster repository has this components base, which defines the base component. You see it here is like this is Git repository that connects the repository, and this is customization that needs to be installed. So here I install Flux component base. It goes there, components base, and install this Flux secrets and install these Flux secrets. So it's like, this is a cluster and environment agnostic secret or whatever config map or Helm installation or whatever. And we install these components from the base now. But if you want to have a like non-standard component, you can create it here and instantiate either directly from the cluster, or you can instantiate it from the tenant. And for example, here we have Istio system namespace. So if you look at the namespace, it is Istio system, and this is actually synced from the delivery tenant. So, well, actually, let me create a PR, and because let me create a branch. Let's name demo. Then let's change the Istio system namespace. Let's add the label demo, and then demo meet. Then we push this branch, and then we go to delivery. I create merge request, demo, and then I would ask someone to actually merge it. Where's my Zoom? I'm gonna send it to Slack delivery. If someone can click on the on approve. So, and ideally it should execute the pipeline where it run div command. Oh, actually, yes, we can just go and see, sorry, delivery. And then we can say Flux div customization path where did we? And it runs the name, the path, and they said like a demo, but it also will delete this. But well, it's actually I haven't tested this yet on tenant. That's probably it creates a lot of noise, but you can see that for namespace Istio system, demo will be like a demo tag will be added, and then we go and merge these things. Pipeline must succeed. Oh no. Demo effect. Sorry. Probably we can just.
Which kind of testing is running right now?
Sorry?
What is running the pipeline right now?
It's not. It has nothing. That's why it's spinning up.
Okay.
Where does it repository branch rules?
Papa, this file
let
paper
me
represented here.
let me just unprotect it and just merge it, maybe. Yeah, just get rid of this step, and then we go to main, and we say merge with demo, and then we push. Should work now. Yes, it works. And then if we look at this, what did we change? We changed Istio namespaces, and we say Istio system namespace, and we have labels, and in 1 minute it will update the label. Or in order to speed it up, we can just say flux reconcile, and we reconcile this. It takes time to reconcile, but you can always force this reconciliation. And then if you look at the and it didn't happen. We can always reconcile this. Labels. Yeah, so it's applied the change. So as simple as that. Everything managed by Git merge requests. Everything is managed by getting stuff checked into the branch that is connected, and no more like long pipelines, pushes, and etc. etc. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Vladimir. I'm gonna stop the recording because I need to jump in another call, and then we can take questions offline.